نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد بسم الله Alhamdulillah. We are all gathered here to offer our prayers, to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to acknowledge the superiority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and submit to His commands. So I want to talk about something which is dear to all of us. There's not a single person in the room who would say, I do not care about this topic. It is about our families, about our parents, about our children, grandchildren, grandparents. So people who are very close to us in the household since we open our eyes in this world. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a special love among family members. And it actually starts with the love He has placed between the husband and the wife, as Allah mentions in Surah Rum, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة. And of His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them, and He placed between you affection and mercy. Subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala counts the love between a husband and a wife as one of His signs. Because if you think about it, there are two strangers from two different families that have come together. And what keeps them together is this love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in them. And it's the same love that they pass on to the children. So in just like genes transfer, from parents to kids, think about the love that is between the husband and wife also gets transferred to their kids. So now there is that special bonding between the parents and the kids. And we see this love manifested in many ways. So in a typical family, the father would work hard to make sure that his kids get the appropriate education, higher education, become successful in the career. And similarly, the mother would take care of whether it's the meals for the house or just spending time with the kids for their upbringing. And then later on, of course, the children provide the care when the parents are old. So that's what we see in a typical family. So definitely the bond between family members is a very strong bond. And Alhamdulillah, even in today's society, we see that Muslims have continued to maintain this close relationship among themselves between the parents and the children. And the sanctity and honor, the love and care is obvious in our households. But the truth is, if you reflect for a moment, you see similar behaviors in non-Muslim cultures as well. So definitely you see them raising their kids to have better life in this world. You see them making sure that their kids go to colleges and universities. You see that they also try to inculcate good values in their children. So a lot of these behaviors we see in Muslim families, we also see them in non-Muslim families. So the question we should have in our mind is, how are we different? How Muslims should be different than a non-Muslim in terms of their family, in terms of this bond that they have, how that should be manifested differently in a Muslim family compared to a non-Muslim family. Because if both the Muslim and Kafir in the end are going to be treated the same way, then there is no need to remain Muslim. If there's no difference in our behavior between the Muslim and Kafir, then it doesn't matter how you live. There must be some difference. So that's what we need to reflect upon. What is the difference? How are we different than a non-Muslim as a family structure? And the key difference is we are not only working to make sure our kids are successful in this world, but we're also making sure that they have a good akhirah. That's a key difference. That's where the mindset changes between a Muslim family and a non-Muslim family. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear, as it comes in Surah Tahrim, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. O you have believed, protect yourself and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones. Protect yourself and your families from the fire. And what's the fuel of the fire? People and stones. So essentially, we are obligated not only think about ourselves, but also about our families. What does that mean on a daily basis? What does that mean? Well, that means it is not enough for you to pray Fajr and let your kids sleep because they were working hard last night. That's not enough. It's not enough for you to fast, but let your kids kind of skip it because they have a difficult exam today. Right? That's not what it means. It's not enough for you to be careful about your food, but let your kids eat from wherever they want. Halal or haram, don't care. Similarly, it's not enough for you to avoid watching filthy movies and let your kids see whatever they want on their mobile phones. Give it to them. Play with it. See whatever you want to see. Not enough. All those things matter. It's not about you only. It's also about your family. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly says, "Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum." Save yourself and your ahl, which includes both your wife and your children. So what is our obligation? I'm always thinking about how to give ourselves some action points. So we're not leaving with just a thought, but we're leaving with a plan. So educate yourself. I'll start with the minimum, basics. Educate your children on the fundamentals of religion. Just the fundamentals. The core beliefs, the core obligations. Matters of halal and haram. Matters of tahara and matters of relationship. I'll give you one example, which is concerning, it's kind of private, but it's important. You know, how many kids do not know today, how many boys, I should say, do not know today how to take ghusl after a wet dream? They don't know. How many girls do not know how to take a proper ghusl after their periods are over? Basics that are happening to all of us on a daily basis. They don't know. What does that mean to them? Well, it means to them that their prayers will not be valid until they do proper tahara. What does that mean to you? Well, you are sinful because you did not teach them, you did not guide them. So basics are missing in our society today. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam makes it even more clear to us in a narration. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar in Bukhari, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun." He does not stop here. He goes on. فَالْإِمَامُ رَاعٍ وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ وَالرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَى أَهْلِهِ وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةً عَلَى بَيْتِ زَوْجِهَا وَهِيَ مَسْئُولَةٌ وَالْعَبْدُ رَاعٍ عَلَى مَالِ سَيِّدِهِ وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ أَلَا فَكُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ. Every one of you is a guardian, and every one of you is responsible. So a ruler is a guardian and is responsible to his subjects. A man is a guardian to his family and responsible for them. A wife is a guardian for her husband's house and she is responsible for it. A slave is a guardian of a master's property and is responsible for it. And beware, all of you are guardians and are responsible for those under you. Right? So he goes on to describe very explicitly the responsibility. So you're not only a guardian as a man, you're also responsible and accountable. Same thing with the wife and so on and so forth. So we have to remain watchful for whoever is under our responsibility, how we are looking after them, not in terms of only this world, but also in terms of akhirah. So in closing, I want to shift a little bit of the focus. Right? So we talked about how we should be mindful of raising our kids properly and give them the proper education, the difference between halal and haram. I also want to mention a bit more about husband and wife, how they should be looking after each other as well. So there's a beautiful narration in Ibn Majah where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions just one example of how we should be taking care of each other. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions, رحم الله رجلا قام من الليل فصلى وأيقظ امرأته فصلت فإن أبت رش في وجهها الماء. And he then continues, and subhanAllah, he gives the same example. So this one was, I'll explain in translation, for a man but also for a woman, for wife. رحم الله امرأة قامت من الليل فصلت وأيقظ زوجها فصلى فإن أبى رشت في وجه الماء. May Allah have mercy on a man who gets up at night and prays and wakes his wife and she prays. And if she refuses, meaning she's still asleep, he sprinkles water in her face. Again, very lovingly try to wake her up. And the same thing, may Allah have mercy on a woman who gets up at night and prays and wakes her husband so that he prays. And if he refuses, she sprinkles water. Tahajjud is a nafil prayer. It's not even an obligatory prayer. So even there, when you're trying to encourage each other to perform a good deed, what about obligatory actions? What about obligatory actions? So, as an example, if your husband is into watching movies, well, try to encourage him not to waste his time. Right? And similarly, if your wife is not covering her head, obligatory action, well, again, try to make sure that she is understanding the importance of that hukum, that obligation. These things are important. If you are not going to look after each other, who else will? So we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to fulfill our obligation, to teach and guide our spouses, our children, our families, and make us among those who leave a righteous progeny in this world that becomes a sadaqah jariyah for us in the hereafter. Ameen. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم اهدنا لأحسن الأعمال وأحسن الأخلاق آمين يا رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك